Okay, so this is the second part of my puzzle collection. Let's see. Okay, so these are all my gear cubes. Something with gears in them, and this one is the normal gear cube, which most people think is relatively easy. It takes about 6 full spins to get the puzzle back into its original shape. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That. And the next one, which is slightly harder, is the Gear Cube Ultimate. The only thing different is that the middle layer doesn't have gears in it. Like this. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. In the other directions, it still takes 6 full spins to get back to its original shape. That's the Gear Cube Extreme, That's the Gear Cube Extreme. Now these two are the Gear Cube Ultimates. And the only difference between the Gear Cube Extreme is that they have these pieces, these stickers on the inner pieces. This one doesn't. So otherwise, that's the only difference. And these are a bit harder because these two, or any other piece, like any other sets, can be flipped around. So that can be a little bit confusing sometimes. Otherwise, it's the same again. And then this one I just got recently. This one is the Gear Shift. And this one you can turn it like this so that everything turns. Everything's connected. Or you can take them out like this. And then you can turn it. And only one side will be turned. You can also turn this side. And then just put it back in. So you can take it out that way. You can take it out this way. You can also take it out this way. So you can take it out any direction. Which is a really nice thing about this puzzle. So these are my gear cubes. And here are my square cubes. So, these two are the square ones. Same thing, just different plastics, black plastic and white plastic. And the middle layer, as you can see, has only one direction of turning. And you have to turn at least 180 degrees to make the next move. If you turn it 90 degrees, then it doesn't work. So that's square 1, and this is the square 2. The only difference is that there's a line going through the corners, which enables it to turn this way. And this can be confusing because there's more pieces, but it can also be a little helpful because you can turn it whenever, because every piece has the same angle. Unlike this one, where after you turn it, you might not be able to turn it because of this piece. Because there's no opening this direction. Square 1 and square 2. This is a super square 1. And this is probably the most difficult out of all of them. Because, well, first of all, it's a little bit harder to turn. Because the inner piece, you can turn it around as you want. And sometimes it turns by itself while you're trying to solve it. And the inner pieces doesn't have only one direction, but you can turn the inner pieces and then spin it around, which makes it much more confusing. So these are the squares. And this one is the Peter's Black Hole, which I really wanted since the first time I saw it. The only problem was I couldn't find any place that actually sold it. So now I finally got it a while ago, and it's a pretty nice puzzle. And rather than memorizing methods, you just have to be able to memorize the pieces and where they are, what you moved, and where you're going to put them without messing up the other pieces. It's mostly memorization for this one. This is a super floppy 3x3x1 And this is a really nice puzzle for beginners. It's pretty simple. The only problem with this is the stickers, which as you can see keeps peeling off. But you can change its shape, this. And even if you change shape, it's not that difficult. Right now I just flipped this part by accident. Okay, so that's the super floppy 3x3x1. This is a rainbow cube, which at first glance seems a lot more difficult than the normal Rubik's Cube, but I personally think it's a lot more easier. You don't really need much of a method for this one, and it's just much simpler once you start to try to solve it. That's my rainbow cube. This one has actually two names. Sometimes it's called the Diane Gem. Sometimes it's called Christopher Bandelow's Jewel. I just call it the Diane Gem because that's what it was called when I got it. And the nice thing about this puzzle is it clicks into place as you turn it, which ensures that you don't overshoot. The only problem is because of the angle, it's sometimes hard to turn with just one finger. And other than that, it's a pretty nice puzzle. It's very simple and has a slightly new concept. Okay, these are the crazy Mega Mixes. I only have 5 of them right now. The 4 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and 1 outer planet, Neptune. And these are very similar to the crazy 3x3x3 cubes. The one difference being that they have slightly different formations, and they just have more sides. So, it's not much more difficult than the crazy cubes. This just takes a lot longer time for some of them. So those are the crazy Mega Mixes. And this one is the Rubik's Magic. Right now it's kind of tangled up, but this one basically consists of 8 of these squares, and they're all connected with some kind of string. And you can turn in certain directions and then turn in other directions. That. So I'll also turn into band this direction. So that's pretty cool about the Rubik's Magic. Okay. This one is the 4-layered rhombic dodecahedron. And this was one of the more challenging puzzles I've had so far. Probably because the side pieces only has one color. Because you solve it pretty much like the normal 4x4x4 Rubik's Cube. The only difference is, since this only has one side, you can't tell if it's facing the right direction or not. Also, the centers have 2 colors instead of 1, which also makes it slightly difficult. Goes right through the middle, and it also goes on the edges. These are my Siamese puzzles. This is my quad cube, which is just 4 2x2x2 puzzles stuck together. And you just solve the 2x2x2 4 times. It can just be a little bit confusing because of the way it looks, but otherwise it's the same. And these two are identical, except they're made with different puzzles. Just different brands. And this one is just less stable and less smooth than this one. This one's much more stable. And this one is very similar Also, except the only difference is this one is connected on a different place than these. This is connected on one flat layer, so you can lay something flat on top of this. With this one, it sticks out a bit, so it's a little bit different. But for the most part, you solve it almost the same. Now, this is my most annoying puzzle because it just takes too long to solve. It's like a normal Megaminx, except it has 3 layers on every side. So if you try to count it, which you probably shouldn't, it's just gonna have way too many pieces. So it's not extremely difficult. The only problem is you need enough endurance because it just has way too many pieces. So that's the most difficult thing about this puzzle. It's Terramix. And that's my last puzzle. So this is my puzzle collection for now, and in the future I may do another one once I get more puzzles, but so far I don't have any new ones yet. Thank you for watching.